There you go. And then bam, that takes it out of there. Now you don't have a weapon against them. Is you're like, okay, cool. Let me just disarm you right now. But that's usually how that works, is you have to go ahead and have something that you're ashamed of in the first place for that core strategy to work. Once again, this is one of them negative core strategies. Don't recommend using it, but it is a fundamental piece of the game that exists. The next strategy is charm. This is where you go ahead and hold out the prize and dangle the carrot a little bit, and you're getting somebody to the false hope or the realized hope that they can get the thing that you're holding out. And so if you just dangle the right carrot, you get to go ahead and get people to say yes in situations they ordinarily would not. Make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Cool. That one's kind of like positive and negative. It could be either way. It's just a matter of like how you use it. Whereas some of these ones are just outright negative, and like there's no real good like positive way to use it unless we're talking about ends and means and there's gradients to those kind of things.
Yeah.
Far beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. Let's see. The 10th strategy is authority. This is where you have confidence that you're going to get the thing that you're asking for. So typically this is somebody of relatively high status asking something of relatively low status person, because it wouldn't work otherwise. Because like, once again, if we look at the toddler trying to go ahead and be like, you're going to do this for me, the adult looks at them and goes, yeah, no, I'm not.
It's cute how you think you run things.
Whereas like a lot of times parents will go ahead and use authority, whether, it's rightful authority, to go ahead and...
Because I said so.
Sure. And that isn't always the way to do it as a parent, but there are times where it has to happen, right? Because it's time sensitive or whatever.
Yeah, I've definitely made an effort not to say those words because I said so.
Because you use it selectively, and wisely so, because you reserve it for those times where it actually matters. Mm-hmm. Because like using authority for authority's sake should be used sparingly. Because if you have to tell somebody to do it because you are, whatever position, you are diminishing your influence with that person later on, unless there's exceptional circumstances. And if there are exceptional circumstances that are clear and like people can go ahead and tell what's going on, after the fact, they're going to respect you for making the hard call when it had to be made.
Yeah.
And like you can go ahead and get mad at somebody for making the best call that they could given the circumstances and the situation that was before them right there, but you can't say that they weren't logical about it. Mm-hmm. You can't say that they didn't do their due diligence.
There's definitely reasons behind it.
So the general like emotion that's being played on is awe. In that case, is like you're willing to submit to authority if you are like taking an authoritative please and saying yes to it. The 11th strategy is playfulness. This is where you go ahead and have some kind of shared illusion. Maybe you go ahead and have a little game within a game. And when you go ahead and win the game within the game, it makes it easier for you to win the main game, because they already kind of like what's going on. They like the game that you've established for them. It's like flirting. Like flirting is a really good example of playfulness. Flirting is kind of like the mix of seduction and playfulness at the same time. Is you give them something for the hamster wheel to kind of grok on in the back of the mind, and they get to play that situation out of their own volition. And depending on how well you paint or how well you play this game, mm-hmm. the better off you'll be, because you're much more likely to get a yes when you get there.
Yeah, it's like an extra like little battery pack for the long game.
Yeah. And so the thing that's being manipulated is meaning. This is where you have like double entendres, and you get to go ahead and like mess around with words and all kinds of silliness that comes up.
Gross your kids out.
Oh yeah, that's great. I love grossing my kids out. And it's great because they get to go ahead and know how to play the game for themselves as well. The 12th and the final core strategy that's involved in this game is quitting. Right? This is the basis of power being reframed in a situation. Is when you don't want the thing anymore and you're just like, okay, I'm not going to bother asking, please. The person that is in the giving situation or in the giving position loses some of their power in the game, because now they no longer have that thing to influence the wanter.
Because there's no more wanting.
Because they don't want it anymore. It's you remember that line from Brian Atlas where he said, hey, if you make it so that you're difficult to love too.
Yeah.
Something like that. oh, if you want to play hard to get, you'll play hard to love. And I think that's an important piece of the puzzle here is sometimes you got to go ahead and learn not to overplay your hand.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to get the most out of this exchange before you say yes, sometimes you don't try to go ahead and extract max value. Sometimes you got to leave some of the value on the table so that they're likely to not quit in the process.
Remember Neopets?
Tell me about that.
When you'd have to like make an offer on like the food, whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you only get like so many attempts before like they're like, get out of here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, when you get to go ahead and try to barter.
Yeah. Or somebody else, they're like, we don't have it anymore. Somebody else bought it.
Because somebody was willing to pay the
Yeah.
price. Yeah. I always thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Because you could also go ahead and give this outlandish offer, and then they would just refuse you right away. And
Yeah.
wouldn't
They're
give you
like, get out of here.
Get
Like,
out of it.
GTFO. Get off my lawn.
So I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of core strategies to this game. The game is really complicated, it turns out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to play it.
And how every interaction is different. Because every pairing is different. And every even circumstance, like if we have like this kind of negotiation an hour apart, you know, if you have two separate ones an hour apart, they're going to be different because like sometimes we have different things happen to us minute by minute.
Right. So I think it's just interesting how there are so many ways to play this game and in so many contexts. And like a lot of those core strategies were negative core strategies that you could use, like whether you want to coerce somebody or intimidate them or blackmail them. But a lot of the other core strategies are generally pro-social things, like being playful, I think is a fun thing. It's just sometimes people are just super serious, and playfulness is not the game to play with them.
Kind of straightforward stuff.
Sometimes it's just the facts, ma'am. You know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's a matter of like being able to calibrate from the information that you're getting to see, hey, what kind of person is this?
Yeah.
What can I see off of their body language and how they carry themselves in order for me to know what the likely winning play is? It's just a fun way of like looking at interactions among people and like how to navigate relationships in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So I think it just thinking through it and like putting these words to it kind of give me a different like way of looking at relationships, generally speaking.
Yeah, just knowing or refreshing your brain to what's going on here. It's easier to like pick things out. And especially even just any number of recent interactions you had with people, you're like, oh, that was what was happening. Like,
so I think it's interesting because we can go ahead and also look at some of the psychological effects of playing the game in certain ways. And I think one thing, when we are playing this game subconsciously with each other, people want to test each other's boundaries. And they want to see like, hey, where are the limits to this thing? And sometimes people don't have a really good idea of how far they can push the limit before they get a hell no.
get out of here.
And other times people are just too timid. They're not willing to go ahead and like push to get what they want.
Or they settle like way too early.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because when we're looking for somebody else's boundaries, in a way, we're kind of looking for security in how we relate to the other person. It's like, where am I safe to operate? Like,
Yeah.
where are the left and right boundaries of what's going on in this relationship?
Or like, especially with somebody that like you still find it hard to read them. You don't really know where you stand.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times guys have problems with this, where they have like weak or loosey-goosey boundaries. It makes it difficult for a woman to be able to trust his leadership and to know where things are safe. Because if there are no boundaries, or the boundaries are just like enforced 10% of the time, that's a really dangerous set of circumstances. Because like, hey, if you think that things are okay and then all of a sudden a boundary is enforced and things go sideways, what the heck is going on, right? If this message resonated with you, I'll ask that you go ahead and hit the subscribe button below so that you can go ahead and get more. And I ask that you send this message to someone who could benefit from it. I hope you have a fantastic day.